Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom, everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome back to the next episode of Reading with SHILO, man. I'm SHILO. What's up, baby? I'm out here. I'm out here. What's going down with you, man? So we're here to pick back up in chapter 6 of The Medical Apartheid by Miss Harriet A. Washington. We're going to go ahead and finish off chapter 6 tonight. Chapter 6. I hope you're ready to take this voyage with me. On the sea of pages, let's get ready to roll. Roll my boat of knowledge. And let's see what we can grasp. Man, it's getting cold out there. So, hey, get all your stuff together, man. Come on in, sit down before I begin. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your peoples, man. Let them know what's up. Tell them, say, man, SHILO out there reading. That boy reading again. He out there reading again. Y'all better watch out. Oh, man. So, come on. Let's get our 25 in. Let's work our body, work our mind, and work our body again. So, come on, get off your lazy behind. I'm getting off of mine. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. 25 somethings. You do 25 something. I'm going to do 25 something. I got mine right here, man. I'm going to just 25 these things. And let's go. So we can go ahead and get ready. One. I'm going to serve him 25 times. Two. Here you go. There you go. Four. You want some? You can have some too. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. You want some too? You get some too. 13. You want some? 15. Everybody get some. 16. Like Oprah. 18. Come on, get some. 19. 23. 24. One more. Come on. 25. There we go. Get it ready. Oh. Everybody want to serve up plates? The hell with y'all plates. Y'all kill my people. I'm celebrating about no killing of my people. Anyway, the medical apartheid. Let's get in. Let's work our mind now. The medical apartheid. The dark history of medical experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times until the present. By Harriet A. Washington. And so far, it's been very informative. We left off in chapter 6. Let's end it. Let's end chapter 6. We left off on without sanctuary. Without sanctuary. All right. Whew. Military medicine proved inadequate in the face of the legendary carnage wrought by the war between the states. And 88 of every 1,000 white volunteer soldiers in the Union Army died. But proportionally, 1.5 times more Black Union soldiers, 148 per 1,000, succumbed. One Northern officer declared, "You can't replace these white boys, but if a nigga dies, all you have to do is send out and get another one." Still, it was much safer and healthier to be a Black soldier than a Black civilian. And most slaves fled the plantations when the war began, and most free Blacks fled the South. The internal nation of homeless roamed northward, hungry, tattered, sick, and penniless, seeking safe harbor. As the Union Army drove back the boundaries of the Confederacy, it initially took control over 750,000 Black people. And the government assigned responsibility for their care to the reluctant Union Army, which argued that it had neither the resources nor the expertise to give the refugee Blacks the care that they needed. Nevertheless, during its peak year of 1866, the Army's Freedmen's Bureau health system comprised 46 field hospitals and 52 colonies, asylums, and dispensaries, small clinics. 118 herded into camps without adequate nutrition, sanitation, or medical care. And only 138 physicians ever cared for the 1.1 million freemen who eventually lived in the camps. And many of these doctors expressed disdain for the black animals, as at least one doctor called the contraband in front of the relief workers. Some flatly refused to care for them. That's 138 physicians. That is nothing. That is nothing to 1.1 million. You know damn well you wasn't getting seen properly by them physicians. If you was any other 1.1 billion, and don't let your skin be copper or brown like mine, shit. Hey, you might you're gonna be one of them boys that they say is easy to just send for another one. Send for another one of them, man. The results were predictable, and 1 out of every 4 freedmen died in the camps. Many died of rampant infectious disease, especially tuberculosis, and infant mortality, which had always run high among enslaved blacks, slewed exponentially. The African American refugees themselves staffed and ran the camps, but always under the Argus eyes of paid white administrators. And the high disease and death rate, primitive medical conditions, and callous attitudes of some camp physicians further fed African Americans' distrust of medicine. When the war ended, Martin L. Delaney, MD, who had disguised or distinguished himself as an officer in surgeons' medical services, were sabotaged by a lack of financial support. And when the sharecropping, shalom, how y'all doing? The exploitative, abusive medical care of slave owners was replaced by no medical care at all from the rampant through black populations. However, 19th century scientific medicine, bolstered by census data, perpetuated the belief that blacks' inherent inferiorities, not exposure, health disaster. The censuses of the post-bellum decades not only perpetrated colleges, so is a troublingly persistent trend in American medical research. One of the delicious paradoxes, of quantum physics is the Heisenberg uncertainty. Similarly, the census is methodological. Yet the chief distortions of the census were intentional falsehoods, and these constitute yet another powerful example of how scientists, when it comes to research into African American and intelligence theories, all detailed numbers that could never be proved. Phrenology, including the progressive violence, by interpreting the shape of the head, and low detailed numerical. The same arguments for blacks' mental inferiority that had kept slavery and life support or on life support were now applied to support claims of inanimate or innate blacks' physical inferiority, danger to whites, and a victor of infectious diseases because more blacks were now living in cities. And in 1890, African Americans lived in cities, although only 4% had been urban in 1860. Many spent most of their time in white households as domestics. Saw a complete reversal of the basic mantra of slavery on the basis that blacks were harder than whites and so were ideally suited to survive and to work in harsh climates that would have meant death to more delicate whites. And not to dive. A familiar theme of medical journals and popular magazine articles alike became, would blacks survive the new century? Yeah, would they? Burgeoning black research into the once rampant identification of disease with inherent black frailty. Pellagra is marked by the constellation of symptoms, as deep skin eruptions are followed by diarrhea, dementia, and in 40% of cases, death. Many survivors are relegated to mental institutions. It was long considered a black infectious disease caused by poor hygiene and was called the sharecropper's scourge. Now, pellagra was actually neither a black disease nor in fact sparse and monotonous diet of white corn and inferior fatty pork corn that removed remaining traces of niacin fueled a more widespread nutritional deficiency among white Southerners. In 19, forerunner of the U.S. Public Health Service assigned Joseph, but not the staff of institutions tended to contract or demographic of the disease's non-infectious, non-racial nature would lie in inducing pellagra in healthy white people. That on which poor blacks had subsisted for centuries because they developed the disease. Goldberg was more racial than pellagra. And in the 1870s, an extensive sores. In late 1904, Walter Clement Noel, a wealthy black first-year student at the Chicago College of Dental Surgery from Grenada, was admitted to the obtained a medical history and performed routine physical, blood, and urine examinations. Now, in the blood smears, Irons saw that Noel's blood contained many pear-shaped and elongate, suspected that they held the key to Noel's symptoms. And he also alerted cardiologist James B. Herrick, his attending physician. And Irons cared for the case for publication in 1910, included their opinion that Noel's was a disease that struck only blacks. He which is now called sickle cell anemia, because of the elongated forms that Irons first recognized. Noel returned to Grenada to practice dentistry, but Noel's was the first case to receive such intensive attention and investigation. Americans with sickle cell disease are descended from Northern Africans or Sub-Saharan, and 1 out of every 1,000 to Fort. Yet, the disorder also affects millions of people of near South America, affords protection against some strains of malaria, and so people with where malaria is prevalent. U.S. whites suffer from sickle cell anemia as well, but when the occasional white person biological heritage rather than simply within a decade of biological heritage rather than simply it's an identification. They are in the inherent inferiority of African Americans. African Americans physicians did not, among others, rose to the challenge by establishing hospitals where blacks could contain or obtain medical care. Opened the hospital school. It damned all but 2 black medical schools, even medical guard and mental inferiority. The story of how such African-American healers and researchers affected the trajectory of American medical research with blacks is related in several works, such as A Century of Black Surgeons, The History of the Negro in Medicine, and Making a Place for Ourselves, an important group which supported black hands and private philanthropies, such as the Rockefeller Foundation and the Julius Rosenwald Fund. The Rosenwald Fund would soon turn its attention to infectious disease among blacks by initiating a fateful syphilis control program in Macon County, Alabama, the home of the Tuskegee University. And that concludes chapter 6. Oh, my nose is itching. Right on the top. That concludes chapter 6, Diagnosis of Freedom. And we'll move on tomorrow. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. Maybe I might come back later on in the night because I normally do about an hour reading, but it did not take us an hour to finish off chapter 6. But I'm not going to go into chapter 7 right now. So I'm going to shut it down there. I'm going to shut it down. I mean, I'm not going to go into chapter 7 right now. I'm going to shut it down there. Yeah, chapter 7 is pretty long. It's pretty lengthy. Chapter 7 will end part 1 of the book. Chapter 7 will end part 1 of the book, and we'll be going into part 2 of the book. But chapter 7 is, and it sounds like it's going to be a better today. That's the plan. So, man, we did 25. Sounds like it's going to be a better today. That's the plan. So, man, we did 25 things to start. We will end up, man. Do something. Just killing my folks, my peoples. Y'all want to celebrate that shit, man? Y'all have to work y'all ass out. That shit, man, y'all have to work y'all ass out. Y'all got to work all that turkey out there. Get some, you want some too? You can have some turkey. There you go. Come on. Who wants some? Come get some. 19. Who wants some? You 23. I'm going to give you a plate of this humbug. 23. 24. 23. 24. 25. There we go. 25 things. 25 was it turn out to be effective for me, man, and that has been medical apartheid. The dark history of medical experimentation on black men. Man, a catch on the back end, like, comment, subscribe, man. Tell me what you think about